So, if you remember in the other video, I cut this out and I put this piece of steel in here. So it's really glued tight. It isn't going anywhere. So, but what I'm going to do now, see how the trailer's curved, but this is straight. See that? The trailer's curved. The steel goes straight. So what I'm going to do, before I fiberglass this steel in place, before I fiberglass this in place, I want to make sure this is the same shape. So I'm going to start grinding this down till I can meet this contour. Alright, well, let's see. It looks like it's getting a lot closer. See that? So we sanded a lot of that down. A little bit more to sand. Just a little bit. Okay, I want to show you how well this turned out. So this is all nice and dry. And it just really turned out exactly how you want fiberglass to turn out. Inside the door, all this set up really nice. It's all dry, and even though there's all these little sharp edges, they're actually really soft, see, because I put my surface seal on it. So now I'm going to dress this, which means sand it and clean all the edges really nice, because we're going to start doing our body work, and then we can paint this. This right here, I'm going to put another piece of fiberglass on it tomorrow. Maybe a third piece. I just want it really strong. I don't want that crack to ever come back, okay? It has to be done right. And then over here, there's no transition. It's perfectly smooth. The metal and the fiberglass. It's like one piece. That's great, but I'm still going to put a couple more pieces of fiberglass. I might grind this lower and put some big pieces of fiberglass, because I don't want this to ever be able to get pulled off. Because since you don't push the door in, right, you can only pull the door out. Well, if there's absolutely no way to get this striker plate, or I'm sorry, this striker from behind this steel plate, and this right here is fiberglass, you're never going to get the door open. You'd have to break the fiberglass before it comes apart, okay, if that makes sense. So that's about as safe as you could possibly be. And I really hope that if anyone wants to do this, I know a few people have asked me, you know, hey, how are you installing that? And like I said in my last video, I had someone else do it, unfortunately, and now it's all broken, so I should have just done it myself. But you know what? It's okay. Now that's all fiberglassed too. See that? What I'm going to do now, this is dry, I'm going to put another piece of fiberglass on it, and then another piece. So I have 3 pieces. I already have them all cut to fit. The first thing I did was I traced out what I needed on a piece of paper, and then I went and I brought the paper to my fiberglass, and I just traced and cut a piece right over that so that it'll fit. Because when you mix up your resin, that's not the time to start cutting fiberglass, because literally every second counts. So we want to have all that ready. Then on the inside here, right here, I'm going to put another couple layers of fiberglass over this too, just to make it that much stronger. Do a couple pieces here, and then I can go ahead and start the body work process so I can paint it. Now, believe it or not, I'm going to save this piece too. I have little bins full of little pieces of fiberglass for jobs. You don't want to just throw this out, so you want to save that. So here's one piece. We're just going to cut another one. Alrighty, here we go. I already cleaned it earlier with acetone. You always want to fan it out very, very lightly. You don't want to pull the fibers. There it is. There it is. So when that dries, it'll be ready to start body work. So I'm going to prop the door open. Okay, there's one. Here, let's move the camera. Now there's a shadow. Okay. Ever so lightly. Only the weight of the brush itself is touching. Otherwise, you start pulling the fibers, because as soon as you know they get the resin on them, they start kind of loosening up. So you could really pull a bunch off and make a mess very easily. But because I'm not rolling it to get the bubbles out, you can go this way super light, or you can just kind of dab it. So that's that. I'm going to let that harden. All right, I came out today and I'm sanding all this down. It's really smooth. I'm using a 220 grit. What I want to do is sand down all the resin and everything so that there's no high spots. You don't want it higher than original, because we're going to put our lightweight body filler on here. We don't want it too many high spots. So we're going to have to sand. See all that resin and stuff? That, believe it or not, doesn't look like much, but in the end it'll ruin everything. So I'm going to put more tape on here on the chrome and do some more sanding. Then we're going to move on to the inside. And what we're going to do here, same thing. We're going to dress this up, which means when I say dress, that means it's sanded and has absolutely no sharp edges, and it's pretty much ready for whatever the next step is. So in this case, it's going to be our lightweight body filler. So we're going to sand all this down right now with the 220. But the first thing I'm going to do is put a big fan in here so that any dust that comes off will be blown right out. I do not want my trailer full of fiberglass dust. Okay, now that is all sanded. There's no more resin. It's just literally ready for body filler, but we're going to wipe it down first with acetone. Okay, now I can go ahead and let that dry. We can start our body work. All right, there's our body filler on our piece of paper. We tear these papers off, throw them away. We don't want to hang on to cardboard and stuff. Plus, you're not supposed to use cardboard anyways. It could actually mess things up. because it starts to absorb all the liquids and stuff. There we go. Mix this up real good. A lot of hardener in there. Boy, this is going to set up real quick. All right. I cut one of these because I only want a thin side on one side. Okay. All right, this is just our first coat. We're going to let it, harden, and then we're going to sand it. And let it dry in the sun.